Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to September already. Now, today in this session is all about crystals. It's my Crystal 101 class, if you will. One of the most asked questions is, what crystals do I need? Are there particular crystals I want? Does size matter? Like, we're going to go through all the basics. That way you feel more comfortable in going out and looking for a tool that's going to help you. And that's what a crystal is. No matter what format you purchase that crystal, it's a tool for you or for whomever you're buying it for to help them overcome a challenge, work through whatever it is they need to or want to work through. Crystals can only do so much. Okay? They are not a Band-Aid. They're not a fix-all. That fix has to come from us. The crystals, like I said, are a tool that can help us. So I know that there's a lot of people who think that if they buy a certain crystal, it'll fix all their problems. It will help minimize things. It will help you release things. But it's not some sort of holy grail, if you will. So for people who are joining me online, you can ask questions as I go forward. I am going to explore the basics of crystals and some of those crystals that I really recommend. Okay? And what they're used for and why you would kind of want them. And these are crystals that are readily available and you don't have to spend a whole lot for them. Which brings me to the first question. Size. Does size matter? No. You could get a fairly large crystal that takes up, and this isn't considered large. They can get really big. Of course, that price point goes up as they get bigger. Or you can get the same crystal in a smaller format with just as much power. The density, the size, it's down to the energy that the crystal is holding. Can you charge this crystal? Absolutely. You can do the same with this. It goes down to format. How are you using it? And are you going to be carrying it on your person? This doesn't go well in a pocket. You could try and put it in a bag. It's not going to be as helpful if it's in a smaller format. So that's a big thing. Where are you going to use this crystal? What is it going to be needed for? So have that clear in your mind. When you go into a metaphysical shop or where you're buying your crystals, it can be pretty exciting. There's lots of glittery and shiny. Set those intentions. Know what it is you're looking for. And like always, my friends, use those critical thinking skills. Question and ask. Trust that higher sense. Your ego may react to some of these crystals, but check into that, okay? And we'll talk about this more. Now, for my friends who are new to my channel, welcome. I am a big supporter of helping my friends with tools and information to help them in on their journey. Because your journey, it's your own. And we need to have the information to really own our journey. So, size, does it matter? Really depends on what you're using it for. Like I said, if it's going to be on your person, you kind of want it smaller. Which then leads me to something like this is another common question. Polished versus rough. Is there a difference? These are relatively similar size. Is there a difference? Yes. You wouldn't want to take this rougher, jaggedy edge and put it close to your person because that rougher, jaggedy edge can really start to chafe or harm your skin. Whereas the polish, it doesn't, right? So again, what is this purpose for? If the purpose is to be clearing out a room or something that isn't going to be next to your person, if you're drawn to the raw crystal, go with the raw crystal. If it needs to be touching somebody or could, I would say see if you can't get it in polish form. Because again, that format, right? Those intentions. I encourage my clients and students to have very clear thought on what they're going to be using these crystals for. A lot of time, it is on your person. So if you want something for protection or stability, you don't want it in a purse or a jacket pocket. You want it close. So some of these small, and this is quite big for having on your person, you want it small. You can fit it in a pocket. My lady friends, you can sneak it in that bra, right? It's close to your person. Of course, pendants and bracelets are fantastic. They're easy ways to use crystals, well, easily without detection, because crystal jewelry is very common these days. You can find it everywhere. So again, that intention. What is it that you want to do? Thirdly, clearing and charging. Is there better ways to do it? Yes. My Reiki master friends will know they can charge their crystals quite clearly. And when I say charge and clear, when you purchase a crystal, so if you go in and you buy a crystal, anybody who's gone near it, touched it, they may have left residue. You're going to want to kind of, well, make it your own. Ways you can easily do that if you don't have Reiki, just by connecting with it. You're connecting with the energies the crystal naturally has. Setting intentions. As you're holding the crystal, you can say in your head or out loud what you want this crystal to help you out with. Just be careful as you're clearing and charging your crystals that you don't override the natural programming with the crystal, because that's what you connected with, that original programming. So can you clear and charge a crystal to feel different? Yes. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. I know that there's a lot of misconceptions about using the sun and the moon to charge your crystals. You kind of really need to be near the equator to do that. Additionally, I live in Canada. I don't encourage my friends to store their crystals in direct sunlight or near a window. It's not uncommon in my area to go from, plus 10 to drop down to minus 15. That drop can cause your crystal, if it's close to a window, to contract and expand. Can it crack and break? Absolutely. So I'm mindful of keeping my crystals near open windows, near indirect sunlight, especially something like a rose quartz can fade to white, opposed to, and it might not come in really well. It's kind of a light pink. It's a rosy pink color. Well, you can turn it clear because the sun bleaches it out. So be mindful of that. We want to take care of our crystals. If you really want your crystal to work well, you take care of them. I take care of mine by making sure that they are open to the air. It's not a good idea to keep your crystals in a plastic bag. If you want to keep them in like a mesh bag, they can still breathe and they'll be happy. Plastic is not ideal because, well, just like us, it can't breathe. If you drop a crystal or a crystal breaks, my recommendation is to get a pot, put some soil in it, and allow the pot or the soil to help nurture that crystal. Will it ever reform? No. Should you use epoxy or something to put it back together? No. You now have two different shaped crystals. You can use them together. Their energies may or may not conflict depending on how it was broken or it fell apart. Using the earth, including things like salt, will help to take away some of that negative energy that may be built up in some of the crystals. Elements, like I said, air, super helpful. Earth, super helpful. Fire, yeah, not so helpful. I know you can get salt lamps or some, I've seen like rose quartz lamps that put the tea light in. You're going to wear away that energy pretty quick. Just like earth, when it's on fire, it changes its formation. The next element, of course, water. Please be very, very, very careful on what crystals you put into water. One of the second most common questions I received over the last little while, what about crystal elixirs? Well, they are great. However, submerging some crystals into water is toxic. So please don't do it. You don't, and I know that there's a number of businesses that have really fancy water bottles where you have a crystal in its own little dome. You don't need to spend that extra money. You can take any crystal, put it by your glass of water or your jug of water. It will naturally infuse. You don't need any special anything. It's intention and just letting the crystal do what it naturally does. But that water, it can and will harm some crystals, including things like selenite. It will dissolve right in the water and become very toxic. So there's very few crystals that I encourage people to put in water just because you don't need to. You can just put the crystal beside the water and still get that elixir that you're looking for, especially when you put intention and ask for some help from the high vibrational beings. Because I can guarantee you, your support team will know what it is you're trying to do and will support you with it. So I've touched on a number of questions, and I'm going to probably touch back on some of them. But I do want to get into some of the crystals that I really encourage people to get. They're easy and well known. And this is in no particular order. I was literally writing this and it just kind of, this one, and this one. Many of these are multi-faceted crystals that you've heard of. That's not going to be ones that you're going to struggle with. So the first one, of course, I had to go with amethyst. It's a beautiful purple crystal, easy to find, birthstone to February, super, super easy. This helps with protection, purification, relaxation. You can use it with your third eye. You can use it with your crown. Depending on what work you want, you could start to connect in and heal and start to put that purification, relaxation, and protection on all your chakras. Very versatile, very pretty, easy to find. You can find it in, like I said, any format. You can get it in the raw or the polished. A lot of my crystals you're going to find are very small like this because I do use them in my healing sessions. I transport them and I use them on people's skin so that they're not going to, again, get hurt, and I can get the most out of that healing session. It touches into crystal healing, and it really helps to draw out some of, especially with amethyst, it helps to draw out some of that energy that we're looking at. So amethyst, super helpful. And like I said, super easy. Next one, rose quartz. I already touched on this one. This, of course, is the calming, balancing energy of love, joy, and happiness. So easy to find. Like any of the quartzes, and you'll start to see a pattern with the quartzes. Easy to find. You can get them in really pretty shapes, especially in the heart shape, because of what it represents. You can get them in balls. You can get them in any sort of, this one's a raw crystal. Again, it just depends on what you want to use it for. Is there a big difference between the energies of these two crystals? No. This crystal was one that I was drawn to. And I'm not usually, because I do a lot of healing, drawn to the raw crystals. And when you're picking out crystals, guys, like I said, you're going to go to like a metaphysical shop or a shop that has, usually they have them in little trays or bins, and there's lots of them. And you're like, well, which one do I pick? If it's in a little cup or bin, you can spread some out on your palm, spread it out, and just run your hand over it. You'll kind of think of it as a magnet. You'll be drawn to the crystal that's meant for you. And if you're unable to get to a metaphysical shop, because sometimes that's hard, especially as different areas are closing down, you can send one of your guides, one of your supports, to make sure that you get the crystal that you need. I've bought crystals online, especially over the last 2 years. I just ask that one of my support team go ensure and guide that person that's going to be filling my order to the crystal that will help me out the most. Setting intention and asking for help really helps. Another one I did touch on, selenite. This is the most common format. This is a small wand. Selenite is amazing for protection, for clearing, helps you really connect into that light, help you step in to your power. I encourage people, especially if you're living in busy areas and you're impacted by your surroundings, to put these are usually really inexpensive little wands on top of your front door, your back door, your windowsill. You can just lay them on top of it. Selenite is one of the few crystals you don't need to clear or charge. This bad boy comes primed and ready. Put it on your sills so nothing can come in that's unwanted. That front door, absolutely. Right on top, nothing gets in. For healing, this is a Selenite Ball that I don't remember where I found him, but he came into my collection and absolutely love him. Fantastic, of course. We've got that connection to that higher light, that vibration, so your crown chakra. Selenite makes amazing natural wands. So if you're trying to direct energy or trying to do something very particular, even something as this, you can start to help direct and amplify that energy that you're sending. So whether it's Reiki, whether it's white light, what that energy you're calling on, you can send it. Of course, there are other formats, and I'll get into some of the other formats you can get crystals in, but you can use that. It's a natural wand. The next one, and this is one of my favorites. This is selenite. It's a yellow crystal, or yellow-esque. Even this one's more yellow. It's one of the more yellow ones I have. It's still relatively light. It's hard to see the yellow. This one looks almost brown, right? Whereas this one, you can see the yellow hue. This is a raw selenite, or sorry, citrine, and this is the polished. You can, of course, get them in the points, which is another format that you can start to circle and direct energy. These points, they're great. I like to have them especially around rooms because they are like beacons of light. And the reason I like citrine is that it transmutes negative energy. Having a citrine pillar or a nice piece of citrine in your home, not only does it brighten up things, it helps to cleanse out, it helps to transmute that negative energy. And if you're a parent and you have a kiddo that struggles with nightmares, citrine is fantastic at dissolving those nightmares. One trick I tell a lot of parents is to put a little bag or some sort of little parcel of crystals. You can put it under their mattress. You can put it in their pillowcase. Somewhere that, again, this is why you want some of the polished crystals. Something that's somewhere that the child isn't going to get to them, and somewhere that it's going to be impactful. Older kids, get them involved. My kids love crystals, and I actually had to go searching for crystals this morning because my kids have borrowed them. If your child is old enough, you can put what's called a crystal grid under their bed, especially by their head center. And things like selenite for that protection and energy clearing, citrine, amethyst, rose quartz, any and all of the ones that we're going to talk about today would help. I'm not going to touch base on crystal grids. I think that's going to be its own little Crystal 101, where we get into that more sacred geometry and starting to work on those crystal grids. So next, and like I said, this is not in any particular order. These are just ones that, as I was writing down, it just started to flow very quickly on which ones, well, not only do I use a lot, but will support you. So this is clear quartz. Again, this is in a raw and very clearly in a wand shape. It even has a little bit of a thumb hole, so you can really direct. I like to use this in my healings, especially if I want to direct things or have the client direct the energy to where they want it. Clear quartz, just like rose quartz, super, super easy to find. Comes in many, many formats. Clear quartz, it amplifies energy. It helps with concentration. It helps with mental clarity. You can use it for your healing. Of course, we've got a white clear crystal, so that crown chakra. Super helpful and easy to find. Oh, I should mention, citrine, I don't think I mentioned, is actually connected and works amazing with that solar plexus chakra. And when you're talking quartz, you can't miss out on smoky quartz. I could only find the polished. I have a nice piece of smoky quartz, but my daughter has made a beautiful crystal grid that I didn't want to disassemble because I knew it was still important to her. This is an amazing crystal to help let things go. It helps with the grounding, relieves tensions and stress. It absorbs energy, that negative energy, that negativity. I've had many clients tell me that their smoky quartz has cracked or broken on them. And it's part of what it's meant to do. It's supposed to absorb that energy. Smoky quartz is one you really want to make sure you're clearing on a regular basis so that you aren't causing added pressure, I guess, in the actual crystal. Again, easy to find and very helpful, especially when you're trying to release stuff. So and guys, if you know you're going to be doing some work, so if you're working on and doing a meditation with Smoky Quartz, or like with a letting go, add in some Smoky Quartz. You can just put it in the palm of your hands and just hold it as you're doing your meditation. Or if you want to, I don't know, work on some of the balancing, you can start to connect in and use some rose quartz in, say, one hand, and then you may want amethyst in the other. This is how you can start to be pretty creative with that crystal and use it to your advantage. So knowing what you like to do will help. I know I'm going through these really quickly. I do have it in a PDF that I'm going to be sending out to my subscribers on my website. If you already subscribed and you missed it, or you're getting this later, you can email me and I can just send you the PDF. The next one of my favorites, Carnelian. Beautiful orange crystal, obviously connected to your sacral. This one I do some healing with. This reduces fears and it boosts that confidence. But in a smaller format, still, this one is just as powerful as this one. It's also easier to hold. Again, that crystal work, it just depends on what you're doing with it. Oh, yes. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So the next one is black obsidian. So if you want something that's going to ground you, stabilize you, black obsidian, anything black or red works with your root chakra. One I didn't mention in my list, so I'm going to bring it up now, red jasper. It's amazing, amazing, and it really works on that grounding. So black obsidian is fantastic because it breaks down barriers. We've got that strength. We've got that stability. One of the ways that I have worked with a lot of black obsidian is through cord cutting and really breaking down those barriers. And a friend of mine gave me this a long time ago. It's a black obsidian. It's also got gold flecks in it. It's beautiful. Little anthem that really helps cut through stuff. So crystals can come in some really dynamic formats that you find that are meant for you. And it's funny because when I was in my friend's shop, she was like, I was talking to her about something and we walked by it and we both stopped in our tracks. She turned and she grabbed it and she goes, "This is yours." So sometimes crystals really speak to us. I've had that for years and absolutely adore it. Oh, Moonstone. Here we go. Okay. I don't have many of these that I can share right now because they are being in use. Moonstone. I kind of like this one because it looks like a crescent moon. It deals with inner balance, that peace. It helps us kind of stop being so caught up in our grind. It lets us go more with the flow and our natural abilities. The reason this is in use, I have so many of them in use, is because it supports women with their cycles. So stabilizing a cycle, it helps with that fertility. So a lot of mine are in use with clients and my daughter. That one, Moonstone isn't as common. So you may struggle a little bit to find that one. That might be one of the harder ones. Well worth the find. I know that if you went onto Amazon, of course, you'd find anything there. But if you were going into a metaphysical shop or a shop that you would find a crystal, and like Whole Food shops are carrying crystals. There are trinkets and souvenirs all over the place. So it may be not such a standard crystal, but super helpful, especially if you have someone going into menopause, you have somebody who wants to get pregnant, you have somebody who is entering that stage of their natural feminine cycle. It's so helpful. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, Lapis Lazuli. It's a blue crystal. Can come in this navy color. It usually has bands, and this is hard because it's a dark blue with black banding. This one's a bit easier to see. All right, and it can easily get mixed up. Too many crystals, not enough hands. With Sodalite. Sodalite's usually lighter blue than Lapis Lazuli. Now, the reason why Lapis Lazuli is so helpful, it helps with concentration, it helps with the higher mind, that understanding and memory. It's a nice, easy crystal to obtain, especially if you're struggling. As we get older, that mental clarity can struggle and it's not as acute. Also, if you're in school and you're trying to absorb a lot of knowledge, helpful crystal to have. If you're trying to absorb a lot of knowledge, I would suggest something like a bracelet or a pendant where it's close. A pendant, especially if it's close to your throat chakra. Your throat chakra, of course, is with that understanding. And then you add in the Lapis Lazuli that resonates with your throat chakra and helps with that connection. It's a fantastic, fantastic set to really support you in that learning and that understanding. Okay, and now, for my friends who've been with me for a while, this one will not come as a shock to you. Tiger iron. Now, tiger iron is 3 different crystals combined into one. I think that's why I like it so much. So we have the red jasper, which I had said that's going to connect in with your root chakra. But red jasper itself relieves stress. We have that stabilization of our aura, restoring balance, and of course, groundedness. Because it's red, it's connected to your root chakra. So it adds that. Then it adds in tiger eye, which, of course, courage, reduces negative self-talk and good luck. And then it adds in hematite, black crystal that dissolves negativity, reduces and absorbs that really low vibrational energy, and works on dependability. Fantastic crystals that are all rolled up in one. So everything that I just mentioned is in this crystal. Now, tiger iron usually is in this very pretty dark brown, reddy brown to black. It can also come in with more of a tiger eye feel, with that kind of a darker brown. How I can tell the difference between tiger eye and tiger iron is the weight. When you feel tiger iron, it's a lot heavier. Now, physically, it may not. You could get it on a scale. You'd be like, oh, there's the same gram point. Well, this just has that energetic feeling of heaviness, that groundedness. So whether it's in the red hue or the gold hue, fantastic, fantastic crystal. Now, I was at an event over the weekend, and I asked vendors, do you have some tiger iron? Everybody's like, I have tiger eye. And I'm like, no, tiger iron. This may be a harder crystal to find because it does combat so many negative aspects, protection, and grounding. I've been saying this in my sessions that more and more people are being impacted at a higher rate with these negative energies. So tiger iron is harder to find. If you can't find it, of course, you can get red jasper. You can get, you can go with the black tourmaline. Anything that's red or black is going to hit that root chakra, right? You can grab tiger eye. It's going to help you. It's going to give you the courage, and it's going to help with that luck, if you will. But yeah, I kind of like the tiger iron for that. It's just such a well-rounded crystal. And the last one I have, and it's not last or least, it's just the last one I have, is Shungite. Again, another black crystal. It's very matte. I have a nice big piece here. Ooh, so pretty. I encourage people, and this one you probably have never seen because it sits under my keyboard or by my keyboard here. Shungite is a protection and a can't speak anymore. Detoxification crystal. Shungite, it will help you with the EMF radiation, so it will protect you. It absorbs it naturally. Super fantastic, especially if you do a lot of computer work. If you are on your phone all the time or have technology banded to you, having a small piece around is helpful. You can get it in like on a bracelet form. It's very easy to get. And because it's black, it kind of goes with everything. So it's easy to fit in a room or into what you're wearing. Now, Shungite, and I said I was going to get back to this, is a purification crystal. You can put it in your water. This one will not it doesn't go toxic and it won't cause problems. It's kind of a natural filter. That said, things you have to remember. 1, where's the crystal bin? If you're getting it from a crystal shop, you're going to want to wash it a bit because people have touched it. You don't want to put an unclean crystal in your water. Additionally, if you are a migraine sufferer, be careful. Warning, warning, warning. This can really kick up your water. I do not leave Shungite in my water. I put it in for a few minutes and pull it right out. I literally put it in my, if you use loose tea, you can get those tea balls, put it in there and bring it back out. I suffer from migraines. This migraine inducing. So it is one you can put in your water. Will it purify in the same way beside the water? No. However, if you are a migraine sufferer, you may not want that much purification in your water, especially if you drink filtered water. So you could put it beside. It won't impact you the same way. I know many migraine sufferers, and I'm sure this happens in Chicago as it does in Southern Alberta. We get Chinooks. And no, Leonardo DiCaprio was not correct when he said that's not natural. It's the wind rolling off the Rocky Mountains. We're called windy. There's a small city down in Southern Alberta called the Windy City. It gets windy there and it causes migraines. This will just amplify it. You could put the Shungite beside your water and you would be better off. So do be careful with how long you leave this in your water. If you don't have a sensitive system, it may not bother you. But I know a lot of people, it does really bother them to try and put that in their water. Now, the last crystal, it's kind of a bonus crystal, which is not as readily available. The past 12 crystals are crystals other than tiger iron, where it may be a point of supply and demand. You should be relatively easy to find. This next one, and I have talked about it on my channel before, it's called Auralite. Now, Auralite is in the Amethyst. English isn't my first language today. In the Amethyst family, it's only found one place in the world. It's found in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. The official name to this crystal is Auralite 23. because there's 23 different minerals within this crystal. I'm not going to go through all the 23. It's not what we need. This is a super crystal. Like the, blanking. Selenite. I kept thinking citrine, but selenite. You don't need to clear this crystal. It comes ready to roll. This crystal supports you with clearing out that historical energy, that DNA coding clearing. I know it sounds really complicated, but it's not. Some of the crap we've been carrying for generations and lifetimes, this crystal can support us in starting to release it with greater ease. This crystal heals and balances all your chakras. Because of the 23 different minerals found in it, it can hit every single one of them. It helps connect you with your higher self and those higher energies so you can make high vibrational, critical thinking decisions. It's a beautiful crystal, and because it does so very much, it is one of the most fraudulently pushed crystals. There are so many fake Auralite 23s. If you want to purchase an Auralite 23, my suggestion, talk to the vendor. Where did they get it? I gave you an important insight into this crystal. There is one mine in Thunder Bay, Ontario, which is just outside of Thunder Bay, that can get this crystal. So if they're not getting it from Thunder Bay, it's not right. It's not going to be Auralite. There are a number of suppliers in Canada that sells them. And they should be able to easily tell you where they got it from, what mine. I don't have the name of the mine. But just know that it is a very fraudulent or fraudulized and fake knockoff crystal. Ways that you can tell that it's Auralite. Auralite comes in this purple color. It can come up also in a yellow. I don't have one of the cap ends that goes from purple to the kind of goldy yellow. But as you can see, there's banding in this crystal. They all have this kind of banded effect, if you will. It's easier to see in the polished than the unpolished. But I would check in with the vendor where they got the crystal from. If you're from another country other than Canada, you could also start to connect up to some of the Canadian vendors that sell Auralite 23. It is a fantastic crystal. Really helps with that motivation, that clarity. And most importantly, will help you rid yourself of some of that kind of heavy, funky feeling that we sometimes get. There's a lot of times this is another, I'm gonna huck it around now. This is another one. It has a bit more of the banding. You can kind of see the yellow in this a bit. It's not uncommon for me to ask people to hold the Auralite in both hands and just sit for a while, especially if they're agitated or things are being kind of feeling really overwhelmed. And it will help with that decoding. So if you're carrying a lot of heaviness, it is a fantastic crystal. However, can be a challenge to get. So those are the 12 plus a bonus crystals that I use on a regular. Common things I do, I have a number of little parcels that I do with the chakra crystals. So crystals that will easily connect in to, so again, not surprising to see tiger iron in it, but common crystals. This is jade. It connects into your heart chakra, just like rose quartz. Okay. Carnelian, some citrine. This is an unfinished one, but you could use some sodalite or lapis lazuli to connect into your throat chakra. Amethyst for your third eye, and then you could do clear quartz for your crown. But something like this, you can fit in a pocket. You can get even smaller ones, like very tiny pieces that you can really connect in with and take on with you as you go forward. Oh yeah. So here's one of my common ones that I work with clients with if they need to take it with their person. It's very small, very polished and flat, so it can fit easily into a bra or a pocket. So common to use connect in. So if you're going to start off with the 7 on your 7 chakras. It will hit everything that you need. All right. It's easy. It's kind of fun. And it's healing that will hit on all dimensions and all points when you start off with those 7. Then you can build off of it, because you're going to find crystals that find you. You're going to find crystals that speak to you. I think that in my possibly next month, I will bring in some teaching on crystal grids and wands. Again, this has a number of different crystals, but speaks to me. I've had this for a long time as well, right? Like the wands, they're fantastic and will help really direct and amplify where things need to go. So I think that might be my next step on the crystals, but just I wanted you guys to be able to have a baseline to start to think about what crystals you would like, what is it that you want to do, and where are these crystals going to be needed most. So if you have any further questions, like I said, I've already got a Crystal 101 Part 2 coming forward. I don't know if I'll bring it out in October. I'm kind of excited to see what I'm going to bring in October as the veil thins and as we have a better connection with the passed on loved ones, the other side, as things start to thin as we get into October. So I'm kind of thinking that's where I'm going with that one. But possibly in November, I will bring in the crystal grids so people can start asking questions about crystal grids. However, if there are other crystal questions, please don't hesitate to write them below. I will do my best to get back to you. I get back to anybody who responds to my sessions or whatever I've provided, so that there is that connection, so that you can ask those questions. Like I said, I do have a PDF of the crystals that I spoke about today. I will be sending it out probably tomorrow to my website subscribers. If you miss it, you can email me so that I have your email to send you the PDF. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed this video or this session and that I answered some of your basic questions on crystals. Like I said, if you have more, I am here to help you. And now, if you did like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. You know the drill. It helps people find me on the sea of YouTube, and it also helps you stay connected for when I'm live next. And for my friends, you guys know, Fridays, I do my live sessions to look at and explore the following week. The same is true for Friday, the 3rd. I was going to say the 13th, but it's only the 3rd. So I will be live again. But subscribing, of course, helps, because there are days like this where I'm in the middle of the week or I'm on a Tuesday. You never know. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. And until tomorrow, my friends.